beyond the sort of obvious maths side of it, what's the difference between 3-1 and 2-2 and actually coming away with here with the series win? Because obviously you guys celebrated quite hard the other night, so it sort of looked like mission accomplished, but what is the approach going into this match?
No, I think some of my great memories of playing Test cricket were celebrating a victory. If you can't celebrate after you win, it'd be a pretty boring game, wouldn't it? So you've got to, I think, and that's really important. I think that you've got to, when you have a good day, you've got to celebrate it, as long as you move on and be ready for the next one. And we've said the whole time with the playing group, I've said it since day one, we're here to win the Ashes. So whilst the other day was a great experience, we've still got some business to do.
Justin, how much, I suppose, with the release of tension, I guess, and the pent-up energy from retaining the Ashes at Old Trafford, with a lot of guys almost running on fumes at this stage of a series, does that help in a way to put in a final performance where everyone's maybe just a little bit less nervous?
Yeah, maybe. You saw the energy of training today. I was wondering how the boys were going to train today, and it probably goes back to the first question about celebrating. Certainly that celebration was 2 out of 10 to some of the ones I've seen in Australian cricket before, because we knew we had to play 2 days later or 3 days later. So the boys are up and about. There's certainly great energy in the group. I've said throughout this whole series, there's been lots of laughter in the group, lots of great camaraderie. So hopefully that continues, and that certainly gets heightened when you have a successful game. So there's good feeling in the group. They know there's still unfinished business, and we're looking forward to this last Test match.
Good.
Oh,
sorry, Rory, yeah, you go.
I was going to take on the usual question about the team. Have you got anything? Change your voice. Have you got a team or a 12?
No, not at this stage. No, we've got a lot to weigh up this Test match. We're back-to-back Test matches. Physically and emotionally, it was very taxing the last game, particularly after the third Test as well. I mean, it looked like England might hold on there at the end, so there's a lot of energy goes into that. We've got to weigh up who's fresh. We're lucky. I've said the whole time we've got a couple of fresh, healthy fast bowlers who are jumping out of the skin to play. So we'll just work out who's going to have the most energy, and we've got plenty of skill there, most energy to get the job done. And so we've got a few things still to sort out before we announce the squad.
Is Lyon's finger an issue?
No, he'll be pretty good. He'll be fine. You don't play 80-odd tests or 90 tests, whatever he's played now. He's pretty tough. I mean, he's gone throughout the thing. His finger's a bit sore. It was a bit sore. But he'll be fine.
We've asked a lot about David Warner during this series, but he's still yet to fire in this series. So what's the discussion surrounding him? And we saw in the nets today Steve Smith working with him. So how is the team rallying around him? What are you saying to him?
No, he'll be fine. Steve Smith was throwing balls to him because he's usually hitting balls, and he didn't want to hit any today. So he just loves being involved. That's why he was throwing balls. He threw it to a lot of the guys. Yeah, Davey hasn't had a great series. I mean, there's no secrets about that. But he's also a world-class player, and I've said throughout the whole series, if Davey has one good innings, it'll help us win the Ashes. So, you know, he's probably hasn't been through this lean run before. So it's going to be a good test of his character, and we know what a great player he is. He's had a huge World Cup. He had a huge IPL, albeit with a white ball, but he's a world-class player. He's a match winner. He's been brilliant around the group since he's been back. The energy you saw him bowl like Steve throwing. He bowled for about 45 minutes to help his mates. He's been great. He's been good. He's been good for the crowds. He's been good amongst the group. Hasn't got the runs he wants at the moment, but geez, I'm looking forward to seeing it when he does, and there's no better place in the world to bat than the Oval, so I'm looking forward to seeing him go well this week.
Justin, you mentioned before about having 2 fresh fast bowlers waiting in the wings. How are Pat and Josh feeling after that last test? I mean, Pat's played 4 in a row, and I suppose Josh has played 3, but they've done a lot of work for you.
Yeah, Pat's also had the whole World Cup. He played every game of the World Cup. Excuse me, but they also know it's a big game, big Test match. But we'll see how they pull up. They obviously didn't do anything today. They'll probably have a light day tomorrow. But it's taking its toll. And I've said, I go back to what Joe Root said before the series. It's going to be there's going to be some fatigue in both the camps after the World Cup, and now we're in the last week of a 4.5 month stint. There's certainly some fatigue there, and that's mental and physical. So we'll weigh that up over the next 2 days to see if those guys play or not. England will be feeling the same way though.
Justin, you mentioned the celebrations. One thing that's been made a bit of was Steve Smith putting on some glasses. What have you made of the reaction to it? But also, can you clear up what he was doing?
Well, experience tells me when you're doing well, people try and pick holes in you, and that's okay. That's life. I was there. I know the truth. They were talking about Chris Rogers, who was here 4 years ago, and that is actually the truth. Chris Rogers is a great mate of the squad. And that's what it was about. So anyway, people can make of it what they like. It's like we can't do anything about what people make of it. I think everyone in this room, everyone around the world has seen the great spirit, the World Cup, and this series being played in. There's been great spirit throughout, and there's no way that, like I say, people can make of it as they like, but that's the truth.
So we go back down to Sammy at the back, please, and Rob, and then Barry.
Justin, given how much Steve Smith loves batting, were you surprised to see him not hit any balls today?
No, not really. Yeah, it's the same with the bowlers. Let's hope he keeps loving it in the next Test match. He's still got plenty to tick off. He's got some goals. I know he's got some strong goals for this series and moving forward. But I'd say after spending that much time in the middle and the emotions of the last game, sometimes with batters you just need to, it's more a mental rest than anything else. Got a feeling he might hit a few balls tomorrow though, so start warming up now.
Just with Josh and Pat, are they some of the toughest selection calls, because it's not just sort of form and conditions but that unknown kind of management side of it?
I think it becomes tough because Pat Cummins is the best bowler or the number one bowler in the world, fast bowler in the world. He's the leading wicket taker in this series. Josh has had a huge impact in the games he's played. That's why it becomes probably nothing to do with the issues of management. It's just that it's hard to, you want your best players playing all the time, don't you? So that's where the complexity lies as much as how we're going to manage them.
Barry.
Justin, when you have a batsman like Steve Smith scoring so many runs for a team, does it become almost difficult to judge how the others are going, like a Travis Head or a Matthew Wade? Because you're always he kind of makes up for them in some ways.
Yeah, it's Ben Stokes, you could argue, with the England side as well. They've played so well. So what it goes to show is that they've been tough conditions, but you can still perform. When someone's performing like those guys are, as tough as the conditions are, you can still perform. But there's no doubt there've been bowler-friendly wickets for most of this series, which I've said for a long time is a great thing for Test cricket. I think we've seen amazing Test cricket. If you play on, it's probably the most important thing in the health of Test cricket moving forward. I think that you're playing on competitive wickets. Great players make runs. The game's always moving forward. You're on the edge of your seat, and I think the wickets this series have been fantastic for that. So, how do you judge the other players? Yeah, you've just got to keep getting better, don't they? If you're always aspiring to be the best you can be, you've got to keep getting better to see if you can reach the standards that Ben Stokes and Steve Smith have reached this summer.
Just one more. Personally for you, the home summer was tough against losing to India and all that, but you seem to smile a lot like never before after you won that last test. Is this the most relaxed, or was that the most relaxed you were as a coach in the dressing room?
No, I'm always happy. I'm never stressed. I'm never grumpy, am I? It's always more fun winning than losing, isn't it? And we've had the two extremes. That the emotion of losing that third Test match to winning and retaining the Ashes. So it's more fun winning than losing. I can promise you that. And but yeah, no, it's good. Like I say, if you can't smile after you've won or beaten England in a Test match or retain the Ashes, you're never going to smile, aren't you? So hopefully the smiling continues.
Last one down here, Daniel.
Justin, the team has adapted very well collectively to what's needed over in England this tour. How do you, as a coach and a group, I suppose, get guys who've got, good, strong records and considerable egos as elite athletes to change what they're doing and get buy-in to change what they would usually do to win in a certain part of the world?
I keep going back to Athers asking me a question at Lord's about maybe the different approach we've taken this series, but it's just smart. I mean, you've got to adapt. If you're playing in India, you've got to adapt. If you play here, you've got to adapt, and you've got to, and you also got to live what you talk about. There's no point us talking about playing with a bit of humility and playing with and being professional and being honest with each other and not doing it. So it's actually just smart. You've got to adapt. The best players adapt. It's as simple as that. So. Yeah, if you don't, you lose, and if you lose, it's no fun. So it's pretty much as simple as that. Great players and great teams adapt, and they do what they have to do to get the job done. They find a game plan. Hopefully, our game plan's been pretty good. It hasn't been perfect. We still haven't played our best game yet. Hopefully, that happens here. But we've played pretty good cricket throughout, and all the boys have bought into it. So it's just smart. It's just if you don't survive, do you?
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.